Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We're brought to you by NAI, NP Dodge, Dingman's Collision Center, and D&M Roofing and Siding. This is the only show in the metro area that talks about business growth, real estate, construction, economic development, really anything that goes into making your favorite city more vibrant and more prosperous. And now, without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is legendary in the real estate profession, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, Mr. Beals. How are you?
Good, good. You know, it's College World Series weekend.
It is.
One of the best 10-day periods of the year in our city. I went to the game last night.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was a great game. It was Virginia versus Florida. And it came down to a run scored, a walk-off run in the bottom of the ninth inning. You know, both games yesterday.
You stayed till the end, obviously.
I did. I stayed till the end. Had a great time. It was fun last night. I think they had close to 25,000 people for both games, like 24-something for both games.
Is that a full house?
Pretty much. I think the stadium capacity officially, isn't it just a hair below 25,000?
Let's go with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And I know for both games they had over 24. You know, it was cloudy last night, but, you know, it never rained or anything like that. But yeah, great scene, great atmosphere. I think the area around the stadium this year looks as good as it ever did. I don't know, are you planning on getting to a game?
I hope so. Were there vendors running around saying peanuts? I'm always like, what?
You're like, I didn't. You know, now that you mention it, in all seriousness, I don't recall seeing vendors going up and down the aisles this year.
Yeah, it's the newfangled concession stand.
Well, you know, there are differences. For instance, I noticed there was no poured beer, no beer in cups. It was all in cans. So that was the option they had.
And they open them for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, why do they do that?
So you don't have something to chuck at people's heads.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, just like at CHI Health Center, usually they take off the lids on the plastic bottles and stuff like that.
That's why?
I would think so.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I always just bring caps with me.
That's a good point. Weighted caps. put a little fishing weight inside your caps just to make them a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
Sorry to give people bad ideas.
Well, what I'm excited about, and we're going to talk about later, is all of the development and all the restaurants that have opened. And you went to a grand opening of Let It Fly, and Fat Putter is open, and there's a lot of retailers and restaurants that worked hard to get open.
Yeah, and
understandably so.
Yeah, downtown's looking great right now, and there will be a lot of things in our various stories today that cover downtown and other parts of the city as well. So, given that, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com is where they reside online. They reside in person at 114th and Davenport. But Holly Schneiderwind and her team at Eagle Mortgage, they've been with us here on Grow Omaha for about 8 years now. We've been partnering with them for a long time. And over those 8 years, we have referred countless home owners, home buyers, home loan borrowers to Eagle Mortgage, and everyone we've ever referred there has always been so happy with the results. They say things like, you know, Jeff and Trenton, Holly and her team really took good care of us. Their mortgage brokers listen. And the nice thing about a mortgage broker, they get to shop the entire market. They're not beholden to one bank, and so they can find the best solution for you. So if you're thinking about making that big decision, a new house, definitely talk to Eagle Mortgage. You'll be happy that you did. EagleMortgageCompany.com. Well, Trenton, let's get into the news of the week. First of all, the mayor, Gene Stothert, will not recommend an annexation package this year. Now, there are 139 SIDs, sanitary improvement districts, in Douglas County that would be eligible for city annexation. This is very unusual, but Mayor Stothart's administration has some criteria that they depend on to determine whether adding an SID would make financial sense for the city, and apparently there are none that make sense.
Well, what sanitary and improvement districts are basically a taxing authority, and if the debt is too high on those, the city, when they annex those areas, they actually float municipal bonds, and in exchange for that, they get the taxes. But if the debt's too high, it just doesn't make sense, and so it's probably a smart move on her part, and that just means next year there'll be a lot more.
Yeah, hopefully next year some of them will be ready. You know, as a taxpayer in the city of Omaha, I applaud the mayor and her administration for being careful about that. As a guy who's really excited to see Omaha city limits pass 500,000, I was a little bit disappointed we didn't annex city one this year. But we're
right up there, are we?
Yeah, the city limits are really within a whisker. 490, 490 or something like that. Yeah, so within a couple years, the city of Omaha will definitely be over 500,000.
Well, here's a public service announcement. So I've had people in our office as well as friends and business or real estate owners ask about protesting taxes. And I believe this is the month where you can send them in and stuff, but you can go to dcassessor.org to find out about it. But June is the deadline for protesting 2023 valuations. You're not protesting taxes, you're protesting the valuation of your property. And they make you give comps and good reason and things like that. And then those are actually due and payable December 31st, 2023, but they're not delinquent, nor do they accrue interest until April 1 and August 1 of 2024. So we pay in arrears. So we're paying 2023 taxes that they're assessing now in 2024.
Well, the opening date for the future Moxie by Marriott Hotel at 12th and Harney Street in the Old Market has been delayed. Most recent opening date had been declared as June 30th. Now it's looking to be July 27th. This is a 6-story, 105-room hotel, new to Nebraska. Closest existing locations, Minneapolis and Chicago. This is one that we've been talking about for a long time.
I bet you it's been 4 or 5 years since they announced this.
Has to be, yeah. Yeah, it seems like
this is where the diner was.
Every once in a while, these hotels seem to take a little longer to build than one might think. Now, in fairness, there was a pandemic in there, and it's a tough site because it's a tiny, tiny little site that they're putting this building on. But interesting how some of these hotels just seem to take a while.
Interesting article about the M's Pub fire, finding MUD responsible for half, and then was it the vendor? I think that was responsible for the other half, but. The M's Pub owners got about $3 million for lost wages and rebuild and things like that. They didn't settle early. They stuck it out for it's 2016, so 7 years basically. So they got what they were due. And I sent you a picture. It was on January 9th, 2016, and it was like 2-something in the afternoon. I'm eating at Trini's with a friend. Hear this boom, the building shakes. And I go out and I take a picture about 2 minutes after the explosion.
And there was just a little bit of fire in the picture.
Just a little bit of fire. And
And little did we know that little bit of fire would completely gut that building later in the day.
Unbelievable how long that's gone on.
Yeah, that it's hard to believe that was in 2016, and it's hard to believe that it takes that long just to get these things.
To litigate that stuff.
Well, and the place where Gather in Omaha, good solid restaurant around the corner from M's Pub. I mean, it's amazing how many years that space was empty before Gather was able to open.
Well, and that was it called Market House, I think?
Yeah, and then before that it was
for like
Vivace.
A couple months or whatever. Yeah, it was Vivace, and that Gather goes all the way back. And it's cool, and they have the microgreens in the basement that they grow.
Neat place.
Without soil.
So the Baby Bob Bridge.
I want my baby Bob, baby Bob, baby Bob.
I want my baby Bob. This is the pedestrian bridge, which will lead to the pedestrian bridge. So we've got the Bob Carey Missouri River pedestrian bridge, and it's great, and people love it. But the problem is, if you're in North Downtown and you're not familiar with the area, people think to themselves, how the hell do I get to that bridge? Well, this is going to span the railroad tracks. We've been talking about it for years. It has been delayed, according to the World Herald. This is because of material shortages. No surprise there. Material shortages have been a big deal in the construction industry. The starting date will now be October. And instead of, it was supposed to start last month. Now it'll be October, and it should take about a year and a half.
Wow.
So it'll be nice to get that done. Now, the city of Omaha has approved $551,000 to study and determine if West Maple Road should be expanded from 4 lanes to 6 lanes between Interstate 680 to the east and out at Highway 275 to the west. Glad we're doing this. My hope is that the study indicates that, yes, indeed it does, because the traffic can be quite sluggish on that time. And plus, there's a ton of growth coming in far northwest Omaha. I will say this, though, Trenton, in my humble opinion, I think 204th Street is going to need that widening before Maple does, because 204th Street already is getting pretty thick, and there are still countless acres between West Dodge Road and Gretna that are going to be developed, and there's no place to put another major north-south road any further to the west because the River Bluff is there. In fact, in some ways I say, I wish the Nebraska Department of Roads or the City of Omaha or Douglas County, who was ever involved in it, made that a freeway from day one when they first widened it. It was kind of short-sighted, and I know money is always an issue, but that desperately needs to be a freeway. So we got 2 issues there, 204th Street and West Maple Road.
It's unfortunate that we didn't have the foresight to do an 880 loop, like 680 loop within a 880, and the de facto is 204th Street, Highway 31, Highway 6, and we developed from 1998, the Thompson Family Farm from 168 to 177th Street. And I remember one of the things that were attractive, besides some turning lanes or whatever, the 4-lane divided highway was already in, and that really spurred development. So I think it's important to widen it now, even if it's not needed for 5 years, which I think it is already needed. Do it while it's a lot easier to do.
Yeah, the City of Omaha has released a 20-year citywide facilities plan for the libraries. No libraries are slated to close according to that plan. The libraries will need a grand total of an additional 100,000 square feet of public space. Most of that needs to be in West Omaha, where all the growth has been so explosive. Should cost a projected $215 million. Several existing library buildings would be renovated over that 20-year period. Of course, a new library being proposed for Southwest Omaha would be a nice addition.
Is the one on 72nd and Dodge that's going to be awesome? Is that included in that price?
Well, I don't believe so.
Kudos to the Heritage.
Because that one's already a done deal. That one starts construction next month.
Heritage, does it really? Heritage Omaha.
Or demolition of the due space.
Heritage Omaha has really stepped up as far as libraries go.
Oh, yeah, we have to be very thankful for that organization. You know, there's one issue, and there are going to be some listeners who live in the area near Swanson Library that are going to not like to hear me saying this, but if we're opening a new major flagship library at 72nd and Dodge, do we really still need Swanson Library at 90th and Dodge? That seems awfully close.
Well, I'm sure it's antiquated, and it may still have the Dewey Decimal System and the card catalog in there. And I wonder if they have microfiche still.
I don't know. The last time I set foot in Swanson Library, I was probably like in 4th grade. But nice place. But seriously, if you're going to have the flagship library at 72nd, sell that land to a developer. There's an Orbit stop right there. That'd be a great place for like a 5-story apartment building close to the Orbit and that sort of thing.
Yeah, or like a modern version of Swanson Tower or something like that.
I'm sure the people who...
We could keep it we can make it residential.
I'm sure the people who live in that neighborhood who love the fact that their kids can walk to the library are cursing me right now, but it does seem awfully close.
It's kind of a concrete.
Yeah,
edifice,
it's definitely looking dated. Well, there is a really small but very cool addition to downtown Omaha that happened this week. It's a miniature park, and it is on the northwest corner of 12th and Capitol Avenue. If you can picture that space, there's a parking garage. It serves that building that has the World Herald in it to the south. So there's this parking garage. It sits back kind of a ways, and there's kind of a grass area that dips down there. Well, National Indemnity, which owns it, made this happen financially. E&A Consulting did the design. Mulhall's Nurseries did the installation. But they put a miniature park, or sometimes people call them pocket parks, and it's baseball themed. They painted a beautiful baseball mural on 2 corners panels of this parking garage, put in like a little home plate. It's tiered and terraced, a lot of seating areas. Just kind of a nice little, it's part little seating area, part little piece of art.
What was there? Was it just a grassy area?
Just grassy area and trees. So, and kudos to everyone involved in it, because it's the little things like that.
They didn't get any credit for it on the property. They couldn't have signage.
Yeah, it's the little things like that, Trenton, that just make the city look a little sharper, a little more exciting, and that's a nice addition to the downtown area.
The stakeholders and people give here, and we do our best on this show and other forms of philanthropy. Everybody contributes, and you pay it forward. You educate the up-and-comers in your industry, and that's what's so special about Omaha.
And that is your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. You can find them at eaglemortgagecompany.com or at 114th and Davenport Street. When we come back, we're going to talk about Omaha being one of the best places to live for families. We're going to talk about the new Let It Fly sports bar in the Capital District and downtown parking changes. All of that and more coming up after this. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Trenton Magid in the big KFAB penthouse studio high above Underwood Avenue in beautiful downtown Dundee. The show's brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. D&M Roofing and Siding been around here for decades, and as the name indicates, they take care of roofs, they take care of the siding on your house, but they do a very good job of it. A lot of people don't realize that they also serve the Des Moines, Iowa market, and they have a sister company, D&M Roofing of Texas in Houston. But we really care about what they do here in Omaha. It doesn't matter whether you're looking for residential roof repair or maintenance or a commercial roof
whether
service.
Flat or pitched.
Flat, pitched. We could be kind of like the guy with butterfly shrimp, coconut shrimp, like mansard
but they're
roof,
just really
flat
nice people
roof,
over there.
residential roof.
Like from the office staff to Eric Obremt, the owner. It's unbelievable. The guys on location and stuff. They've always been really responsive and really take care of people.
We absolutely love them. So if you want to find out more, just go to dandmroofing.com. Well, Trenton, Omaha ranked number 34 on Fortune magazine's recently published list of 50 best places to live for families. Omaha number 34. The top three were Cambridge, Massachusetts, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and Silver Spring, Maryland. Now, other cities in our region here in the Great Plains to make the list included, in order, Olathe, Kansas, number 6, suburb of Kansas City. Yep. Eagan, Minnesota, number 11. That's a suburb of Minneapolis. Lee's Summit, Missouri, number 14, also a Kansas City suburb. Iowa City, Iowa, College Town, number 17. The frozen tundra of Fargo, North Dakota was number 30.
Interesting.
The not quite so frozen, but still cold tundra of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, number 35. The windswept high plains venue of Cheyenne, Wyoming, number 39. The Mile High City of Denver, number 40. Oklahoma City, 44. Now, Omaha was the third largest city to make the list. Most of them were small suburbs or small cities or whatever.
We'll take it, but we have room for improvement.
Yeah. I mean, 34 means that there are 33 that were ahead of us.
Yeah, maybe we should do some research, and next week we'll discredit whoever the author is.
Well, unless other places wanted to rank us lower.
That's true.
But I think that's pretty impressive. Omaha just
Thank you for the recognition.
Constantly shows up on these lists that involve quality of life or economic prosperity, and that's a good thing. It helps people realize that this is a good place to live, to visit, to invest. So Trenton, Grow Omaha visited the Let It Fly ribbon cutting on Thursday. This is the 12,000 square foot sports bar.
That's a big sports bar.
It's about between 10th and 11th in Capital. It's in the Capital District. Some of you may know where the Texas de Brazil Brazilian Steakhouse is. It is just east of that or west of the Marriott with Jay Gilbert's and Starbucks. So right there in the Capital District, beautiful build out. I was quite impressed. This is actually founded by a former NBA basketball player. He started his first one in a Memphis suburb, and then he opened the second one in his home state of South Dakota in Sioux Falls. And so this one is his biggest yet.
Is this the third?
Yeah, it is the third. And it was interesting. Creighton coach Greg McDermott and his son, Doug, the NBA player, they're both investors
Doug
in it.
McBuckets.
And they were at the opening. Anyway, the TV screen in front of the bar is exceptionally monstrous. And they have a podcast studio. It looks like a nice radio studio, but they do a lot of sports podcasts out of there. And apparently a lot of a popular local sports podcasts will originate out of there. When we were there, there was some show broadcasting out there. I'm sure it's not as good as what we have here at KFAB, but as podcasts go, they're probably pretty good.
Yeah.
But
maybe we should go try it out.
Yeah, and I didn't actually order any food there. I was only there for a short while, but they had a couple sample appetizers for people while you're there, and it was quite good. So it's a nice addition to the Capital District, and very, very lively, very exciting, well lit. Now, just to the west side of that same building, construction is really just about to get started on those two very large bars that are out of Iowa City, Iowa. One will be a martini bar, and one will be kind of like just a general themed.
In the Capital District.
Yeah, in that same building, on the west side of that building.
Did they do that one that was like the emergency room theme or the medical theme? Remember they were going to do that down there?
It rings a bell, but I can't think of it, so my guess is probably not.
And then Frank's Pizza took the Lighthouse?
Yeah, that's open. Last night after the game, I walked around a little bit. And Frank's Pizza was quite lively. Let It Fly was very, very lively. You know what's interesting is crowded as it gets downtown, though, during the College World Series. As I walked around a little bit after the game, there were a lot of bars where you could get in and get a space to have a drink. It was really only the only one that, to me, as an old guy, I looked at it and said, "There's no way in hell I'm going into a crowd like that." Was Blatt, because it's right across the street from the stadium. The others, a lot of them, you could they were crowded, but you could find a space to go in and have a drink.
It's important to have a strong Capital District, good owners, and it really connects the Builders District where Kiewit is, and their park that's going to be there, obviously the ballpark, and then all the way to the Old Market. And the Old Market benefits by having continuous activity.
Yeah, in an urban area, activity begets activity. Yes, there's a such thing as competition, and I guess there's only so many dollars to go around, but activity begets activity. If you've got a busy area in an urban area, the adjacent commercial areas will be busy because people are drawn to concentrated activity.
Yeah, it's just like car dealerships. You want, you say, and sometimes I tell my clients that if they treat us like restaurants, I just want to be your favorite restaurant, and so people are if they eat at Frank's every day, they're going to get burned out and they're going to go to the next one. But if they eat at Frank's once a week and then they eat at Let It Fly and they go back and forth to different restaurants, you just want to keep them in the area.
Well, yeah, and when you're talking about
sticky customers, they say
when you're talking about a dense area like a downtown, variety and diversity of choice is critically important. That's one of the reasons why people are drawn to dense areas like a downtown or like an Exarban or like a Blackstone district, because you want diversity of choices and the excitement that comes from so many people and so many businesses and so many things to do. And
I'd be interested to see what the Fat Putter, which is 14,000 feet, that has food options and stuff. I'd be excited to see what the quality of that food, because that guy's really expanding and this is his first big kitchen.
Yeah, we need to pop in there sometime in the next couple of weeks. Well, hey, we promised you we'd be talking about new downtown parking. We are going to. We're just going to bump it to the next segment because we're overdue for the news on the half hour. So we'll break for the news, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about downtown parking. And we're also going to be talking about the 5 new developments in Omaha that will have the greatest impact on future growth and development. So all of that and more. You're listening to Jeff Beals and and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back shortly on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. The show's brought to you by D&M Roofing and Siding, as well as Dingman's Collision Center. And Trenton has worked with Dingman's for a long time. He is their official real estate agent.
I'd like to call myself that, and I think they would tell you that, but I don't want to put words in their mouth. But I've actually been a great customer lately, and that wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
But they did superior work on my exotic vehicle, and you cannot tell except if you look at the Carfax. And I don't even know if it's on there yet, but
give it time.
Yeah, no, they were impeccable, great customer service, and friendly faces, and sometimes you need Dingman's.
I've used Dingman's a couple times in the last few years, and I am proud to say that, knock on wood, neither was my fault. But I acknowledge there could be a time in the future in which it might be my fault when I need to go to Dingman's. Either way, they do a great job. As Darcy Dingman says on the KFAB commercials, accidents are hard. And they are. I mean, they're hard financially, they're hard psychologically, and sometimes they're hard in terms of physical pain. Whatever it is, you need to get that car fixed, and you want someone that you can trust who has the most impeccable ethics and does darn good work, and that's Dingman's Collision
Here's
Center.
a trivia question for you, Jeff. Do you think it's people texting while driving or icy roads that cause more accidents?
I think it's people driving while texting.
Okay. I don't have an answer because I haven't done the query.
I will say it is shocking the number of people that you see on the road who are utterly not there. I mean, there are so many times you'll be, driving along and you'll glance over to the person next to you, and somehow or another they are typing things on their phone while ostensibly driving.
I don't know what you're talking about. Could you imagine when we have autonomous cars? Like, people won't even look at billboards. They won't look at anything.
Yeah, it will. I suppose they'll just have their.
I bet you when the autonomous cars come, the billboard industry rates are going to go way down.
Yeah. Although, I mean, in all honesty, though, on the other hand, yes, people will be buried in their phone more. But on the other hand, maybe you will be more free to notice billboards because you don't have to be, looking at the brake lights coming on for the car in front of you, so you could actually really look at the billboard closely.
Maybe for the first couple months.
And then you'll be back on your phone. All right, it's time for our commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies. That firm, Noddle Companies, under the leadership of Jay Noddle, does so much good work here in Omaha and in other cities too. A lot of Omahans don't realize that Noddle Companies, based right here, is a national company. They've got projects all over the place. But here in town, they're famous for Exarban Village. Also, current projects that they're working on right now. One of them is the Builders District. And I got to tell you, yesterday, when I was down at the College World Series, I went by and checked out how the Mass Timber building is coming along at 1501 Mike Fahey Street that Noddle Companies is building. This is a beautiful 4-story, top-notch urban office building. And they are up onto the 4th story. It looks like they've pretty much topped it out in terms of the wood and steel skeleton.
They've got wood.
It's coming along quite nicely, immediately south of Kiewit. So that building is coming along great. It really fills in that part of the Builders District. The Builders District is that area just west of Charles Schwab Field, where Kiewit has its world headquarters. There's a Cambria Hotel, Filmstream, some restaurants, and room for more growth. Going to be a little urban pocket park, highly activated.
You'll see more apartments, probably
coming to
a hotel.
that area.
The pocket parks would be really cool.
And another Noddle Companies project, Exarban Village. This is not necessarily news, but I want to pass on a public service announcement. For all of you who are thinking, okay, tomorrow's Father's Day, what are we going to do with Dad? That farmer's market tomorrow at Exarban Village, it's every Sunday, is really, really cool. We did it a few weeks ago, and then you walk around, and then all the restaurants are there. Like a few weeks ago when we went, we did the farmer's market. We had a blast. We bought some things, and then all 4 of us, we went to Interrail Food Hall, and I swear all 4 of us got food from a different restaurant. But you have like Herb Sant there and all the others. Just that could be a really good Father's Day option for you
Wait
tomorrow.
till you see what Nautil Companies does with the Sonny's Airstream trailer, and they're going to spruce up a big park around there.
So that is your commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, brought to you by Nautil Companies. If you want to learn more about them, a couple options. The website is nautilcompanies.com. They also have a pretty good Facebook page. Just search for Nautil Companies, or look for their Exarban Village page or their Interrail Food Hall page. You can find out all sorts of information. So we promised we had talked to you about downtown parking. Now, some of you probably don't get downtown very often. Others of you live downtown. I go down there quite a bit, even though I live pretty far out west. And I have long just packed the little, what used to be an ashtray, now it's a coin tray in our cars, full of quarters for the parking meter. Well, we've gone through a big parking paying technology change downtown. Have you tried the new parking system, Trenton?
So I've used what do they call that app down kind of in the old market? Where
The Park Omaha app or something like that?
Well, there's the one where you put your credit card in and then you sign in and sign out.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to put it, you put your license plate in. That's pretty handy, but I've never used my credit card on a parking meter, but I do carry a ton of quarters. And there's an article about how people that work downtown that aren't going to the games are bummed out about the cost of parking this week. But there is a saving grace if you get in early enough at the Brick Line.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about they've replaced the meters with these new bulk machines. Like one machine covers several meters.
I have not seen that.
They still have the meter stands, but the actual thing that you would slide your credit card into or put the quarters into is gone. So now you either use the app or you go to these stations, and they're kind of attractive looking little machines, maybe about 4 or 5 feet tall.
You're attractive.
And you go in and you have to. Now, part of it's a pain in the butt. So the part that's a pain in the butt is you have to go to this thing. You have to know your license plate number.
What?
And until
that's why I have personalized plates. Make it easy.
Yeah, you'll have no problem. But until I use this thing, I never even paid attention what my license plate number is. So I get there, I'm like, license plate number. Oh, gee. So I had to go back to the car. And then you have to know what zone you're in.
Yeah.
And so that part is a pain in the butt. And it was so much nicer just you pull up, boom, put in like 3 quarters, do the thing you're doing and leave. Now, I will give the system credit in that they've lowered the prices. So if you're only staying for a couple hours, it's cheaper than it used to be.
Now, you rent a lot of cars when you're on speaking engagements around the world.
Yep.
And the first thing I do when I get a rental car is I take a picture of the license plate. Do you do that?
No, I probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should. I take pictures of any sort of...
Another public service announcement.
I do take pictures of any like scratches or dents around the outside of it so they don't try and stick that to you when you turn it in.
It's been about a year since I've said this, but what's unique about Omaha downtown is that from Capitol to Leavenworth, all the streets are in alphabetical order. So if you're looking your way around, my problem is now I don't know where anything is unless I do the alphabet.
There you go. And you have to know the alphabet. So that is that segment in the books. And we're going to take the final break of the hour. And when we come back, it'll be the Turner Construction Lightning Round. A lot of things on the docket. Stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back shortly on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. It's time for the Turner Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things super fast. Turner Construction is kind enough to make this happen for us. By the way, Turner is one of the deepest resourced, most well-known and respected construction firms on planet Earth. And here in Omaha, they have a very strong local office. They actually call it their Nebraska office. It just happens to be based here in Omaha.
Headed by Patrick Sokol.
What was that? Your microphone was off.
Headed by Patrick Sokol.
Yep,
market leader.
Pat does that and has got a good team of several people here in Omaha. So if you're looking for a contractor for your project, you should definitely look at Turner Construction. We recommend them to everyone. In fact, I just made a recommendation for Turner a couple days ago for someone that I know that does some construction stuff. And if that person ever decided to go with them, I know they'd be very, very happy. So thanks to Turner Construction for making the lightning round possible. All right, let's get into it. Flagship Restaurant Group has announced the names of 3 restaurants that will open in the Mercantile. Trenton, this is the project project on the north side of the ConAgra campus. One of them will supposedly open in July. It's called Memoir. It's going to be an American grill and bar. And then a year from now, 2 others will come. And these are in the Brickline building in the Mercantile District. One is going to be either Champagne or Champong, I don't know how you pronounce it, a duck pin bowling entertainment venue. And the third one, Ghost Donkey, described as someone got paid to come up with that name.
Sounds delicious.
Ghost Donkey, an experience-driven bar that will offer a huge mezcal list, a distilled alcoholic beverage made from any type of Magui?
Mezcal.
I don't know. Sounds great. Speaking of the Mercantile, also, we know that the opening date or the planned opening date for Tupelo Honey Cafe in the Brickline building, along with those 3 flagship restaurants, will be late October.
You know where Tupelo is, right?
Tupelo, Mississippi?
No, it's right above Three-Pelo.
Very good. The Fat Putter has opened at the southeast corner of 10th and Capitol Street. 4 indoor 9-hole golf courses, full bar, kitchen. This is from the owner of Prehistoric Putt. Trenton, you visited the new 135,000 square foot Hy-Vee store in Gretna.
I'll tell you what, it's an experience. Separate bathrooms for everyone, 4 men's rooms, 4 women's rooms, and then a mother's room. And they have the Wahlburgers there. This place is massive, and you should check it out.
Yeah, it is 192nd.
A little overwhelming.
192nd and Highway 370, and it is the first Hy-Vee to be constructed in the metro area since 2012.
That's
which is hard to believe. Doozy's Homemade Ice Cream and Burgers has reopened in its new location, the former Jimmy's All-American Malt Shop at 4105 South 11th Street in Council Bluffs. That's really close to Lake Manawa. Hey, the owner of Omaha's Archetype Coffee will be one of 140 competitors in the World Coffee Championships. And didn't even know that was a thing, I bet.
Where are those held? Coffee Switzerland?
Athens, Greece, actually.
Really?
And he claimed the title of U.S. Barista Champion recently, which qualified him to go to this World Championship. So kudos.
Moly.
Yeah, his name is Isaiah Sheesh, Isaiah Sheesh, owner of Archetype Coffee here in Omaha. That's pretty good coffee, by the way. New Orleans newspaper, which is NOLA.com, published a story this week, and basically it was a story.
Times-Picayune.
Yeah, it used to go by the Times-Picayune, but now they rebranded themselves just as NOLA.com.
You're kidding. Well,
yeah.
but the newspaper's called the Times-Picayune.
At any rate, they said Barrett's Barley Corn and Pub doubled their alcohol order as soon as Louisiana State University qualified for the series.
I believe
That's it. I'm out of here, and so's Trenton. So I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, D&M Roofing and Siding, and Dingman's and Turner Construction. Jiminy Christmas. I'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.